What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Belal Muhammad made a huge mistake at UFC 315. Belal Muhammad is drawing praise for the ridiculous toughness and heart he showcased in his war with Jack Della Maddalena. But there are more than a few people who are questioning the now former champion's strategy in this thrilling contest. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Leading up to UFC 315, the consensus was that Muhammad would look to put his wrestling to work. After all, JDM is one of the best strikers in the division, and it was Muhammad's grappling game that dominated Leon Edwards and won the welterweight crown in the first place. While Belal did try several takedowns in the fight, he didn't do so as often as a lot of people expected. Ultimately, JDM won the battle by outstriking the rugged fighter. Well, following the fight, Javier Mendez spoke with Submission Radio. The renowned coach credited Belal for his heart, but acknowledged he was surprised by his strategy. My heart goes out to Belal. He's a warrior, hopefully, and he'll come back and do well in his next fight. Let's see what happens. But like you and I kind of alluded to, he didn't fight his normal fight when he fought Leon Edwards, and that's the fight he should have fought because he's fighting a very, very good striker. Jack is a very good striker. I love the way he goes to the body, head, and mixes everything up. He's smart, staying in the middle of the cage, nice jab. Getting that jab out there, he's got good length, very relaxed when he did everything. I'm kind of shocked that he didn't go to the wrestling more, but it is what it is. Maybe Jack didn't allow him. Mendez's thoughts are similar to the ones that Robert Whittaker also had, as he's also reported he was surprised that Belal didn't lean on his wrestling more. Further, Bobby Knuckles questioned if Muhammad was trying to prove his striking was at the same level of JDM's.
I expected more takedowns. Okay, now it's easy for me to say on the outside. Okay,
sure.
We can look in and say, oh, well, I don't know how he was feeling or what had happened to him during the fight. I don't know how he felt. But from the outside, was it the third or fourth round, when he mixed in his striking and his shots, when he mixed in the strikings to bring Jack onto it, to mix into his shots, they were clean every time. Yeah. Every time. I think his only two takedowns, more or less, were from the open mat, drawing Jack into it, sort of thing. Now, why didn't we see more of that? You know, I can't help but feel like Belal was trying to make a point striking with Jack for the first 3 rounds.
He was, I think so.
And if that's the case, that is ridiculous.
Big mistake, right? Like,
dude, yeah.
What do you think? Was JDM's footwork and takedown defense too on point? Or did Belal let all the criticism that he's not a finisher get to him? And so he tried to prove his critics wrong. Case in point, leading up to the bout, Belal cited that he had been using Canelo boxing in training. So when JDM was asked about whether Belal has Canelo hands after his championship win, he said this: "No, he didn't. Canelo is the man, but he didn't. Props to him. He said he would stand in there. I didn't think he would, but he did." Della Maddalena also took a poke at one of the broadcast graphics that appeared during the fight, which had Belal landing more significant strikes than him in round 3. Those stats have since been updated. Officially, the stats have JDM landing 34 to 32 significant strikes in round 3. Khamzat goes off on fake Belal Muhammad. Khamzat didn't hold back when a fan praised both himself and Belal Muhammad. The fan tweeted to Khamzat and said, "Salam alaikum, brother Khamzat. I know sometimes you guys might not like each other, but as Muslim fans, do not appreciate when you guys throw jabs at one another. You guys both raised awareness about the situation in Palestine. Peace and love to both you brothers." Khamzat responded to the fan by calling out Belal and saying, "Yes, he called me Muslim brother, then he goes saying he wants to beat me. So should I be nice to you? I like real people, not fake. If you call my brother, you should be my brother. I always support Palestine, but I never support fake people." And then followed up by posting a picture of Belal crying and writing, "He's crying again," and ended up deleting the post soon after. Magomed Ankalaev calls out Alex Pereira for rejecting fight. Magomed is continuously calling out Alex Pereira on social media. Yesterday, Magomed revealed that Alex turned down the fight for UFC 317 and is becoming impatient. He said the following on X: "I was offered to fight Alex International Fight Week. If the man don't want it, let's move on. I'm ready for everyone. I dare you." He followed it up with revealing his new nickname. "They call me Big Ank. Now they call me Ankalaev." Are you interested in seeing the rematch, or should Magomed take another fight for UFC 317 or UFC 318 if Alex Pereira is not ready? Tom Aspinall reacts to breaking UFC record. Tom Aspinall has become the longest reigning UFC interim champ in history. But the heavyweight won't be holding a big bash to celebrate the achievement. Aspinall won the interim title all the way back in November of 2023 by bombing out Sergey Pavlovich. On account of injuries to the champion, John Jones, which postponed his fight with Stipe Miocic, and then because Bones has dragged his feet on fighting Aspinall, The latter has yet to fight for the undisputed belt. Well, during a recent video that the English star shared, Aspinall made it clear he's not happy about his new record.
You are now the longest reigning interim champion.
Yeah, it's a lot of that is bull, isn't it? That is not something that I wanted. No, it's not something that I'm not that proud of that one, to be honest. The interim title's nice, but the longest reigning one, I obviously wanted to contend for the undisputed in the time that I've been interim. So
it's coming.
It's coming.
Officially, it's been over 535 days and counting since Aspinall won the interim title. Hopefully, the MMA gods will bless us with a title unifying fight soon. Aspinall's last fight took place in July of 2024 when he quickly put away Curtis Blades. Tom Aspinall reveals that he has a meeting with the UFC tonight, and he'll find out once and for all if he's fighting Jon Jones or not.
Jon Jones doesn't want to take the risk at the moment, so I actually have a meeting tonight about it. So we're going to find out what happens tonight, believe it or not.
What do you think you can do to make that fight happen?
Me personally, I can't do anything. I think it's just down to money, I think, on his side. So I will fight whenever, wherever he wants, but it's down to money, I think.
He also said that if the fight doesn't get booked, that there's nothing he can do about it, and he will move on.
When you put him in with a guy of my size who has them credentials at this stage in his career, I think John's a smart guy and he realises that, so he wants compensating financially for it.
And how does it feel that you constantly have to address this topic?
Oh, I'm well bored of it. I've had enough. We either need to fight or I need to move on and do something else.
Nate Diaz and Jon Jones talk about Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev is widely considered to be one of the greatest fighters in the world, and many believe he's the best pound-for-pound fighter in all of MMA. But Nate Diaz and Jon Jones don't believe he's in the GOAT discussion just yet. Makhachev currently holds the #1 ranking on the UFC's pound-for-pound rankings, and he's defeated many of the sport's elite, including Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, and Alexander Volkanovski. Jones and Diaz are coaching in a Russian show that is reportedly a knockoff of The Ultimate Fighter. Recently, a video clip surfaced which showed Jones and Diaz arguing that Islam has a ways to go yet before he can be considered an all-time great.
He's saying that he's a little new in the sport still.
He's got a lot of work to do before.
But he has a big future. You got a big future. The longer you're on top, the more time your opponents get to study your footage. People fixate on fighting you instead of the next opponent. And
it's hard.
Yeah, it gets harder and harder when we get older.
The jury is definitely still out in terms of whether Islam is the GOAT, but arguing he's still new to the sport seems a bit odd. After all, Makhachev has been fighting professionally for 15 years, and he's gone 27-1. But what do you think? Charles Oliveira sends a message to Dana White. All signs point to Charles Oliveira fighting Ilia Topuria next, and Dubronx is calling on the UFC brass to make the fight official. For much of 2025, there had been extensive speculation on who Ilia Topuria would fight next, following his move up to lightweight. The belief was that if Belal Muhammad lost to JDM at UFC 315, Islam Makhachev would challenge JDM for the welterweight crown. This would open the door to a fight between Topuria and Charles Oliveira. If Muhammad, who is Makhachev's friend, won, the latter would remain at lightweight for his next fight and would battle Topuria. Well, now that JDM has indeed ended Belal's reign, Topuria versus Oliveira appears to be on deck, likely for UFC 317 on June 28. Case in point, following JDM's win at UFC 315, the following comment appeared on Dubronx's social media. Dana White, Sean Shelby, Hunter Campbell, we are ready with the pen in hand. Now the big question is, will an interim lightweight title be on the line? Or will the UFC force Islam to vacate the 155 crown, even though he said he doesn't want to? What do you think? Ian Garry reacts and calls out Jack Della Maddalena. In a recent video posted to social media, Ian Garry reacted to Belal Muhammad's loss and said if Islam versus JDM negotiations don't go well, he's ready to step in. Here's what Ian Garry had to say.
I was wrong. Jack Della Maddalena is the new champion in the division because Belal didn't shoot any takedowns. Mental. I know. So here's the matchups I think we should see in the welterweight division. I want to see Carlos Praches take on Jeff Neal. Two heavy hitters, two big southpaws. That's a fight I'm interested to see. Then Leon Edwards is always moaning and complaining, I don't want to fight any wrestlers, I want to fight strikers, then let's give him the most awkward striker in the entire UFC, in Michael Venom Page. That's a fight I'd like to watch. Now, you've got the new champion, Jack Della Maddalena, the Aussie, great performance, but sloppy. The rumour is Islam Makhachev is moving up to 170, and if he does, then all of us welterweights have to take a step back and give the man the respect he deserves. But if negotiations don't go so well, then you've got a tall, blonde Irishman who's ready to take over the UFC and get that belt, and I will smoke Jack Della Maddalena. I'll box the ears off him.
Alexandre Pantoja not interested in Merab fight. Due to the fact that Alexandre Pantoja has defeated many of the flyweight division's elite, there's been talk about whether he might move up to bantamweight and challenge Merab Dvalishvili for his title. But recently, the flyweight champion shared out a statement about just this, and it certainly does not sound like Pantoja is planning the move. Here was some of what the Brazilian star had to say about moving up to bantamweight to challenge Merab. Lately, a large number of followers have been commenting here asking me to face Merab and make history, but do I really need that to make history? Along with DJ and Benavidez, I'm the fighter with the most wins in the history of my division, 13. I'm also, along with Demetrius and Davison, the athlete with the most wins by fast track, 7. I'm the only Brazilian UFC champion at the moment, and I've defended the belt 3 times. I feel confident in the 57 kg category. Why would I change divisions? And what else to prove? I even think that my game would work well against Merab, but what about then? The UFC has already signaled that it's not interested in champions from more than one division, due to the delay that ends up occurring in defending the title. Therefore, to switch, I would probably have to give up the 57 kg belt. There you have it. Not surprisingly, Pantoja's comments drew a mix of reactions online. Just gonna stay at flyweight and fight the same 3 guys over and over. This confirms the UFC doesn't want double champs anymore. Refreshing for a champion to actually stick around instead of winning a title and immediately trying to become a double champion. People feeling he's being a coward are hilarious. Do we look at Anderson Silva as being a coward? Ran through the same division for years. I too would decline moving up a weight class to fight Merab because that. Good for him. If he's comfortable at the weight, moving up for no reason isn't necessary. The constant push to jump divisions is nonsense. Magomed Ankalaev had this to say: I agree, I've trained with Pantoja, and he definitely not strong enough to go against Merab. Better to stay at 125. I'm just saying how I see it. Pantoja is best 125 right now in the UFC. But moving to 135, fight Merab, he isn't big enough. Even myself fighting against Merab, I would be small too. Why you lot hating what is facts? Figgy was biggest flyweight and he found it hard against 135 guys. So what do you think? Do you understand where Pantoja's coming from? Or should he move up to challenge Dvalishvili? Jose Aldo reveals health issues heading into UFC 315. Jose Aldo was a focal point for plenty of speculation ahead of UFC 315. After it was disclosed that he was not able to make bantamweight. Well, following his memorable loss to Ayman Zahabi, Aldo revealed his camp was plagued by health issues. At various points of his thrilling scrap with Zahabi, it looked like the legend was going to win, but Aldo faded badly in round 3, and after getting battered with ground and pound strikes, he lost via decision. In his post-fight Octagon interview, Aldo signaled his MMA career could be over. While talking to the press afterward, Aldo also revealed he was hit with injuries and illness leading up to UFC 315. This fight was hard. I had a muscle tear on the arm. I had something in the belly that I forgot the name down there from kicking a lot. I had some problems, a virus infection, a bunch of things. The doctor said, get him out of the fight. But I didn't want to because in my head, I knew this could be my last fight. And while talking about retirement, Aldo repeated that he's likely done. I had that in mind already, was talking to coach Dede Pederneiras and Aldo's wife Viviane Pereira, that I wanted to cross to the other side. I always demand a lot for myself, but now I want to enjoy my family, be a father, pick up my kids at school. That's what I want to do. Do you think we've seen the last of Aldo in the cage? Or could we see the former featherweight champion return to the octagon or possibly the boxing ring? Valentina Shevchenko talks about next UFC fight. Now that Valentina Shevchenko has defended the flyweight crown in her second stint as champ, it'll be interesting to see who the legend faces next. While there are a couple of contenders in the title shot mix, not surprisingly, Shevchenko's fielding questions about fighting the strawweight champ Weili Zhang. Shevchenko faced Manon Fiorot on Saturday, and while the fight was fairly competitive, Bullet won via unanimous decision. Earlier in the night, Natalia Silva defeated former champ Alexa Grasso via unanimous decision, so she is unquestionably knocking on the title shot door. But while talking to the media after, Shevchenko was asked about the possibility of fighting the strawweight champion next. Everyone was saying Weili or Natalia, so I don't know, maybe fans can play some role in that. And if they can join my OnlyFans page and drop some messages who they want to see me fight next, we'll compare who's next. Weili, meanwhile, didn't waste any time before making it clear she wants to challenge Valentina. The champion posted, "Congratulations to the champion. Everything has lined up perfectly. It's destiny." What do you think? Do you want to see Weili move up to 125 to challenge Shevchenko? And who do you think would win that fight? Jack Della Maddalenna's coach accuses Belal Muhammad of using PEDs. After winning his fight at UFC 315, JDM dropped a YouTube video right after with the title, How to Beat Belal. In the video, JDM's coach was talking about Belal Muhammad's previous fights. He called out Belal and hinted that he wasn't on juice at the time of his old fights, and his physique is completely different than versus now. And before we continue, we have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day. This would mean that JDM and his coach believe that Belal was on steroids for his fight at UFC 315, which JDM still won regardless of the Belal steroid accusation.
Down block, even if it's not all the way in, and then just throw your feet back. He face planted Belal, and then Belal got tired towards the end. It was only a 3-round fight, but he wasn't on juice then. He was a different physique completely. But then after that, the down block was enough after the first few sprawls.
Do you agree with JDM's coach and think Belal is on PEDs? Let us know in the comments below.